morning. Today we're gonna make kombucha. I don't know if you know what kombucha is, but it's fermented tea and it's very good for your stomach. You know, these days we are eating so much sugar and fast food and things that make your stomach inflamed, and then you need this fermented tea because it contains a lot of good bacteria to help your stomach feel good. And this is a batch that we have had here for almost 12 days now. The first thing that you need to have is a Scooby, and if you look at this one, you can see on the surface that we have like a material that is more firm, and this is, you can say, the engine of making a kombucha. This is where the fermentation takes part because of this one. So you need a Scooby, and if you don't have one, maybe you have a friend that makes kombucha. Then you can split their Scooby because it creates layers. You can split it and take one of hers or his to make your own kombucha. Or you can buy online. And if you don't have the possibility to do either, you can grow one yourself. I will take you through that part also, but we will take it step by step. One thing that is very important is that you have a glass jar, because for Scooby and kombucha you can't have a jar of steel or plastic because you will kill the Scooby and there will be no fermentation. And also this piece of cloth that you have above needs to be in a natural material like cotton or something. And it's important that it's able to breathe through it because it needs air also. So now we start. I also need something here because, you know, I am not so good at not putting things everywhere.
Ska brillorna på det?
Yes, maybe I take this off. So you never know if they fall inside.
Yes.
And this one is quite new. We have been growing it for like a couple of months just. And I don't know, yeah, you can see some layers here. So you know it's possible to split them. And you don't need so much to create your own Scooby. And the first thing I do is to stir it a little bit because I want these parts in the bottom to also come in the small part that I save because of the next batch. And that is about 3 deciliter. And as you can see, it is a lot of bubbles inside. And that is because of the fermentation. And now we need 6 bags of black tea. And the kombucha will be so much better I think, but you have to decide for yourself. You can try with green tea if you like to, but black tea is the best, I think. We put it in another glass jar like this, and then we boil 6 deciliters of water. But as we need all these 6 deciliters, we put a little extra because some will be left in the tea bags. So maybe around 6.5, 7 deciliters of water. Then I have measured almost 7 deciliters of water here, and it's boiling, and I put them over the tea. And then I take the sugar, because the sugar melts in the hot water, so it's more easy to get everything solved. And for the normal recipe of kombucha, it's like 1.5 deciliters of sugar, which means that the end results will be like 1/3. I don't know how you say this in English, but compared to a soda, it's like 1/3 of sugar inside. But as we have tried this a lot, we think 3/3 deciliter sugar is enough. But you have to try what you think is the best, because it also tastes a little bit more like vinegar-ish, but that sounds so horrible. It's not horrible, it's very good, but it's a little bit stronger if you don't have so much sugar inside. So you have to try it yourself. But for us, this is enough. And now we leave this for a while, because it has to be a little bit colder. Even though we use cold water also, we need this to be a little bit more chilled before we use it. So I put this aside, and as we have marble benches, that helps us to chill it. And now we go to this one. This is ready kombucha. We can have it like this, and then it doesn't taste more than fermented tea. And it's also very tasty, but we like to give some taste to it. And today we will make pomegranate and ginger. So we prepared that first. We have these 2 glass bottles that we will use. So we take pomegranate in one and ginger in one. And we have a pomegranate from Turkey, and I think you usually split them in 4. No? Okay. I split them in half. I don't know. Sometimes my husband do this more efficient, but I think this is good enough. I didn't use this one now, I would be all spotty. Then I use one of these because I'm not that stable and I want everything to come inside, of course. Then we take a little bit of ginger. I think I take like this. It's a quite wide one, so, but you can taste for yourself, but we love ginger. And then you peel the shell off. Does it call shell? I don't know. You know what I mean. And I use the back side of a sharp knife when I peel the shell off, because I think that's the most efficient way to do it. Yes, and then we use one of these. This is not my specialty, as you see. I always put my finger too close, and if you're unlucky, you have my blood inside also. And if you wonder, I didn't wash my hands. Just kidding. I always wash my hands before I do anything.
Uh-oh.
Did you find something yummy?
Yeah.
And wood for everything you put inside. Not steel, not plastic, only wood. And now, as I'm gonna pour it to the bottles, I want to stir it to be able to have all this, I don't know what you say in English, but all these pieces coming with me. And now when you have filled them, and also with taste, they need 2 more days in warm temperature and dark. This is important. It has to be dark, and if you have a space over the fridge, it will be like around 25 degrees. That's perfect. And what you need to do I recommend you to have these kind of bubbles because every morning, every evening, you have to give them some love. You have to make them fart. You have to open them a little to put out the air. I will show you in the evening. And if you forget it, morning and evening, you have to be very careful when you open it because it contains a lot of pressure inside. Depending on how strong your Scooby is, how strong your Scooby is. It could be like a minor explosion if you have left them for 2 days and then open it. So make it gentle when you open it. So I will put them above my fridge and they will have to stay there for 2 days, and after that in the fridge. Oh, as you can see already that it has created like bubbles. So this is perfect. And the kombucha will be all fizzy when it's ready. And when the tea bags has been inside the hot water for about 10 minutes, you have to remove them. And if you don't like that bitterness that could be from black tea, don't squeeze the bags, just take them away. And this is why we need a little bit more water than 6 deciliter. And now we come to the part where you can start if you don't have a Scooby, because you want to create your own. You do everything that I have done with the tea bags and the sugar. Maybe you add a little more sugar if you want to create a Scooby. I would add 1.5 deciliter because you need to give the Scooby food. And what the Scooby is eating is sugar. So if you want to create one, add a little more sugar. And if you didn't have a Scooby from the beginning, this is the kombucha that you bought with some stuff inside. And now you pour the hot, wait, I have some kombucha left in here. So I take the 1 liter first of cold water. And then I pour the tea, because it's still quite warm. And you will kill the fermentation if it's warmer than 40 degrees. And now the jar contains 1.6 liter of, you can say tea if you like to, and we need 3 deciliter more. And I stir it because I want everything to mix, and then I use my finger to feel the temperature, because it needs to be like my body temperature or below that, because then I know it's not warmer than 37 degrees. Oh, it's a little bit too hot. So I put it aside for a bit. I've forgotten to do one thing that was very important. When we had the tea bags in here and the sugar, when you remove the tea bags, you have to stir it to see that the sugar is completely dissolved. Do you remember that? And now this is cold enough. And if you don't have a Scooby and you want to grow one, this is the last thing you do. You pour the kombucha inside. And you mix it. And then you put the cloth over and tighten it with a rubber band. And to grow the Scooby, you need to put this in a dark, warm place for at least 10 weeks. And after that, you will see a tiny, tiny surface like this one. Then you have created your own Scooby. Then you have to do it all over again as we have done today. But now we have a Scooby. So then we need to put this inside before we do anything else. We take the Scooby, and if you watch it really close, the Scooby is growing from the top. So this one is from the last 2 weeks. You see how thin it is? Can you see it? So every 2 weeks we will have a new layer, and that's why it's possible to share this with someone else. And then I put it inside. And as you see, it's in the top of all of this fluid, but don't be afraid if it's sinking, because some days it can sink, and I don't know why, but it's no problem. It will pop up someday or next time or so. Don't be so scared that there is something wrong. Just let it be like that. Here you can see the layers. And now it's time to put this for fermentation for like between 7 and 14 days, depending on how strong you want your kombucha. And you have to try this. So after like 7 days, you can take a little sip to see if it's strong enough for you. And from the beginning we just had it for 7 days, but now we're up to like between 10 and 14. It depends on when we have the time to take care of it. You put the cloth over and fasten it with a rubber band, and then we put it in the warm and dark place. And tonight we need to pop the bottles, and in the morning for 2 days before we put them inside the fridge. I forgot one thing. You can have this as a hotel for the Scooby also. Because if there are some months or so that you are not able to make kombucha of it, you can just leave it here, like in a hotel. But be sure to add a little extra sugar, because you know it's eating sugar. So if you wanted to stay in the hotel and keep growing and feel good, you need to add a little sugar. But otherwise you can leave it for like 2 to 3 months without a problem. And then you just take it out and make a new batch of kombucha. It's good to go. Good evening. It's time for some dinner, and we need to pop the kombucha. So just have a look in the kitchen first. Super.
Jag fick stödbagare. Nej, det blir bara bättre.
Vad gör nu, gör. Ska vi ha papper? Plåt.
Plåtpapper. Kul med karp.
Va?
Good morning. I just woke up, but I have to pop the kombucha. Let's see. I'm so short, so I have to use this one.